Hello, online crew. Man, do you ever have weeks where it's just laughable? Like there's just so many things that go wrong. I set the wrong time on my own live video, so I don't know if any of you noticed here on Facebook or in my group. But yeah, I set it for 5 minutes ago, which I shouldn't have. Anyway, if you found me and you hung in there, hello. If you're watching me live, say hello. What I'm going to talk about today, though, is 3 strategies to boost your stories. So stories, I mean like the stories feature, like on Facebook or Instagram, the actual stories feature. So that's what I'm talking about. So what I like to keep on top of is what people are testing and trialing out there. Like I listen to other gurus and what they're doing. And if they try different things and they work and they share them, it's like, I might test that too. And if it works for me, then I'm going to share it with you. What have I just dropped? I've just dropped my pen. Oh, I just want this week to be over so I can start afresh next week. Do you ever have weeks like that where you just, anyway? If you're here, say hello so I can say hello back. You just got to laugh at yourself sometimes because, that's just what it is. Anyway. Yesterday, I'm human, guys. I'm so far from perfect, and sometimes you just got to laugh at yourself when things don't go according to plan. So what was I going to say? The live Q&A Zoom calls yesterday that I did with the coaching community, we had really, really good chats on both of those calls. So if you're in the coaching community, sometime over the weekend, watch the recordings of those calls. I do them once a month. They're for you to jump on, get some coaching, mentoring, and we go in all sorts of different directions. But it really gives me the ability to share with you what's happening in my business, what works, what doesn't work, etc. So they're great calls. Hello, Jane. How are you? Thank you for saying hello. Good to see you on. Okay, so let me get to these strategies. So what I would do with this is just test what I'm about to share with you. So these are 3 strategies to do with stories. And according to a couple of people that I've listened to that are trying these strategies, it's really boosting their stories' views. So it's worth a try. I'm in the middle of testing these myself, and I'm seeing a bit of traction. So that's why I wanted to share it with you. Okay. Stories are something that you should be doing every day. Well, in saying that, well, I'll get to number 1 in a minute. But stories are where your kind of warm market is. It's more likely the people that are already attached to you are going to see your stories. Like they're quite warm and they're choosing to watch. If somebody's watching your stories, they're actually choosing to kind of tap on it and look at it and continue to watch. Now, they could just be curious about what you're up to, but they can switch off at any time. So when you look back at your stories, which you should do, so when you look at your stories, you can see who's been watching your stories. So it gives you a really good indication of who is watching you, who's warm to you. So stories is definitely part of your social media plan that you want to pay attention to. You can also be brave in stories because they only last for 24 hours. So who cares if you put like a strong product post out there or a strong business post? It only lasts for 24 hours and then it disappears. Okay, so you should be utilizing stories for a multitude of reasons. But here's the 3 strategies that might help to boost your stories, which some of the gurus are finding. Okay, 1, and you might do this anyway if you're not very active in your stories, is let your stories actually expire. That's certainly not the advice that I've ever been taught with stories. It's always have something in your stories. So there's always have something in your stories, never kind of let them expire. So somewhere in the 24-hour period, always have something. So there's always something for somebody to see. Supposedly, what's getting better traction is to actually, have a run of stories and let them expire, have a bit of a break, and then do stories, 12, 24 hours later, actually let them expire. So hopefully you know what I mean by that. So you could test that. I'm testing that at the moment. So it doesn't mean you necessarily need to do less. It just might mean that you do more together and then you let them expire. So you might do a whole lot. Like I could do a whole lot this morning. Like I've already done one of me exercising this morning. What else did I do? I've done a bit of a product type post. We've just jumped off like a team call. I'll probably share that. So I'll probably share a few this morning, but I could let them run out by tomorrow and leave it for a bit before I post again. So just test letting your stories expire if you do them all the time and see if that makes any difference to your views. Now, the only way that you'll know if something works or if it doesn't, if you're actually taking note and taking data of what you're doing now. So before you go and change anything, what I would do is what you normally do every day, track that for kind of like 5 or 7 days, what you're doing. Look back on your stories and see kind of what average views you get your stories. So for some of you, you might get 30 views on an average story. You might get 50. You might get 100. Like what's your normal? You don't want to go and change a lot of things with a strategy to see if it's going to increase your views if you're not really on top of what kind of views you're getting right now. Does that make sense? So don't go changing anything from what you're doing now. Write down some data of what you're doing actually now. So do what you normally do in your stories, and then every day before the 24 hours is up, look back. It would take a little bit of organization in your day, but look back and get kind of like an average number of people that watch your stories and know what your benchmark is. So then if you implement these 3 strategies that I'm about to share with you, you're going to know whether your stories views are going to go up or going to go down because you know what your benchmark is. Okay, make sense? All good. Hello, Sheila. Hello, Terry. No worries, Dean. Good to see you jump on. So just do that first. Get a bit of a benchmark of what your kind of average views, and this can be Facebook and or like Instagram. Do both and see kind of what your average views are. Okay. Then implement this strategy of number 1, like literally let them run out and wait, 12, 24 hours before you do some more and see if that gives you a resurgence of views. So that's the first thing. The second one is definitely utilizing more, and this is not necessarily new, but some of you might not use them enough, is use the features within the stories feature itself. Does that make sense? So we are given the ability to use GIFs, to use polls, to use questions, all those kind of things. So when you use the features within the platform that you're using, that could give you more reach. But most importantly with that one, like the features that you might want to use is to prompt engagement. So like a poll is going to prompt some engagement. So that's a feature within stories and it's going to prompt engagement. Okay. Asking a question. So you're using the feature within stories and it's obviously going to prompt engagement. The biggest one though is to literally like type a question on your story and encourage people to respond. So when people actually do that, and they actually type something in, like you ask for their opinion on something or, just ask a question of some sort and they respond, then they're going straight into your messenger. And that's the prompt that you want in the algorithm. That's going to drive your story to go out to more people when you get more engagement. So either use the features within the stories kind of, platform itself, to prompt that kind of engagement, or literally ask a question where you're prompting that engagement because that goes straight into the messenger. The algorithm is largely driven by personal conversations happening in Messenger, and you will get more reach and your content will be seen in front of the people that you are having conversations with in Messenger. Like this happens all the time. It gets proven over and over and over again. And this is a strategy that we talked about on one of the coaching community Zoom calls yesterday. I was in Messenger with somebody just before we jumped on live Q&A Zoom call 2 yesterday for the coaching community. And I needed to go to Facebook to do something. and I'd not long finished a conversation with somebody in Messenger that hopped on that Zoom call. So I'm on my phone in Messenger. I go to my computer. I open up Facebook on my computer, and guess whose post was the very first post I saw in my newsfeed? That person that I'd been talking to in Messenger. It just happened to me again before this live video. So I was talking to somebody in Messenger. We've been going back and forth, having a conversation. I've gone to set up my live video to live stream in my group for this live video. When I opened up Facebook, guess whose post was the first post that I saw when I opened up Facebook on my computer? The person I've just been speaking to in Messenger. So I don't know if you realize how much power in the algorithm there is when you get in personal conversations in Messenger, and the power of that for people to see your content. So like what we were talking about in the coaching community yesterday, I'm giving you all our little strategies here, is you can be really strategic about this. Let's say you've got a really strategic product post or a strategic business post, and you want a certain person to see it, or you want to expose your business to somebody, but not directly. You don't want to send them a messenger message and go, will you have a look at my business? But you'd love them to see kind of your content that you're talking about, product or business wise. Find a reason to get into their messenger, not business related. Like just find a reason to get into their messenger using something like ICQ, which is my strategy regarding intention compliment question. So go to social media with intention, find a reason to compliment somebody on something, and then ask them a question. So you get into the messenger. And again, that doesn't need to be business or product related, but that will drive the algorithm for that person to see your post. Next, I guarantee you, when they open up, Facebook next, guess whose post they're going to see? Yours. So you can time that strategically. Anyway, my whole point with all that, I've given you a bit of extra information there, but my whole point with all of that is with stories is to use the features within stories that prompt the engagement, or literally type like a question on the screen to prompt the engagement and get people into your messenger. And that will up the algorithm for who your story gets put in front of as well. Okay. Now, the third one is once you've let your stories lapse and expire, there's going to be at some point in time the very next story, the first story you put up after your previous stories has expired. So what's found to work really well with that first story after you've let your previous stories actually expire is to actually strategically put a story up that's value driven. So you're actually giving something of value. You're sharing something that might be helpful to your audience, like a tip, or, if you help people with a certain product, is it health wise? Is it a tip around food or exercise or gut health or weight loss, or like whatever's your thing? Like think of whatever your niche is, whatever your target market is, what could you give value around in your stories, and have a call to action that's going to benefit them. So if you do have a freebie of some sort, you'd want to offer it up on that story. If you've got a video that you could share with somebody, maybe you did a video the day before which was full of value. Maybe you did a video 2 weeks ago that was sharing some value about something. You could still repurpose the link from a previous video that you've done about something that would be helpful to people. Does that make sense? So let's say you did a video even 2 weeks ago and it was sharing your 5 top tips to XYZ. So after you've let your stories expire and it's the very first story that you're doing, talk about something value-based that's going to be helpful for your audience, and then offer out that freebie with a call to action. So like if you would like, access to the full video where I've shared this information, or would you like, you'd like the PDF or the resource or whatever, just comment the word XYZ. And that can drive then the rest of the algorithm and the stories for that day. Okay. So they're the 3 things that I recommend you trial. But again, just make sure you know what you're dealing with before you go and change anything to know whether it's going to boost your results. The more people you can get looking at your stories, the better. The more people looking out for your stories, the better. They are warm to you. They're not cold to you, and they're choosing to look at what you're doing and what you're up to. So the more interesting that you are in your stories, the more people that are looking. And remember, you can look at the people that are looking at you. It gives you amazing insight as to somebody, wow, that person's watching my every story. They're watching me every day, but they never comment on anything. Like, you don't get that kind of knowledge from any other type of kind of post than you do with stories. So you can absolutely use that to your advantage in this industry with, the stories that you're doing and learning who's watching you. So I just recommend get your baseline first and then implement these 3 strategies that I've shared with you this in your video. And then I would love to know in the future if it's made a difference with the people that are watching your stories. So whatever it is now, if you've got 10 people watching you, 20 people watching you, 30 people watching you, 150 people watching you on a daily basis, let's see if these 3 strategies can up those views. Okay? So go and test that out and see if it works for you. And if it does, I'd be interested to know. I'm still testing this out myself, okay? But I hope that helps. And there's definitely, success leaves clues. So if there are people testing out these things, and one of the gurus I heard listen to speak about this said they've 9 times, like 9x their stories views with these 3 strategies. So it's definitely worth, bringing into the mix and trialing it out. Okay. So just a reminder, coaching community members, watch the replay of the live Q&A Zoom calls yesterday. We are almost on another new month. Like, it's April next week. Can you even believe that? Where did February and March go? I remember January coming around, but I don't know where the hell February and March went. Like, we're already almost at April. So a few things around that. If you're watching the replay of this, most people in the, Europe will be in bed. But if you watch the replay of this, your clocks change this weekend. So my live videos will be an hour later again. And just heads up, those of you in Australia and New Zealand, our clocks change the week after. So even if the US in Canada in 2 weeks' time, the timing of this live video will be pushed out another hour. So there's all these weeks where it's really complicated with all the clocks changing. So just keep an eye on the posts on my socials and my emails, because I warn you about all of that. I still have 1 spot in my VIP mentorship program. If that's of any interest to you, reach out to me and let's have a chat. If it's time to up your game, get some mentorship, get some more focus, get your work reviewed, get you on track, get you really focused for the next 6 months to increase the results of your business, reach out to me. And April, just giving you the heads up, I'm doing just a 3-day content creation bootcamp. So if completely free. So if content is still something that you struggle with, you don't have much of a plan, or you're still one of those people that's doing all your content at the last minute, or you're just still thinking, I don't know what to post, you don't want to miss that in April. Okay, so we'll talk more about that next week, but just to let you know that's coming, that'll be really helpful for a lot of you. Just 3-day content creation bootcamp. So look out for the details of that next week. Okay, so this is my last live video of the week. Have an amazing weekend. I hope to be back completely to normal after my wasp stinging and full of drugs and getting all of that out of my system. I'm feeling better every day, but I'm still not 100%. But next week I'll be back on fire. Okay, so I'll look forward to seeing you then. Have an amazing weekend. We'll catch you next week. Bye.